All right, here we are in lesson 2 of module 5, and we're going to talk about blocking your time, which sounds like a really simple tool to use or strategy, but it's often something that I think people resist, and we'll talk about that in a second. So it's really this basic. You're going to block some time for writing, and then you're going to protect it. And step number 2 is actually the most important step in this, in using this strategy. You really have to protect that time with your life, and it's so easy to let other things get in our way because they seem more urgent or important than our writing. So protecting that time that you've decided you're going to use just for writing is really important. And on an episode of the self-publishing show, Marie Force, who's written, dozens and dozens of romance novels and made millions of dollars, still talks about the sacredness of the time that she blocks. It's for her, it's first thing in the day, and that she protects that time with everything she's got, and she doesn't schedule meetings, and she doesn't do anything else during that time but write. And I would suggest, if you're very new to writing, to not block a huge amount of time. So I'm not talking about 4 hours. If all you've got is 20 minutes, then block that off and use the information that I've shared during this course and get your bum in your chair and start blurting out your first draft. So one of the things that I think we can let get in our way is thinking that we need, to block 4 hours to start to write. That unless we have huge swaths of time, that there's no point sitting down. But that's not true. Even in 20 minutes, you could probably write, 300 words. And over time, that's going to add up. So by the end of the week, let's say 5 days, you're going to have 1,500 words written. That's not nothing. That's almost a chapter. It could be a chapter in some books. So even little chunks of time like that can be really valuable. The objection that people often throw up when I mention this tool is that scheduling time isn't creative. So they have a belief in their mind that creativity is sort of free-flowing and spontaneous and all that kind of stuff, and that scheduling time to be creative is the antithesis of what creativity should be. And my response is, well, what's really not creative is not getting your writing done, not creating anything. So, looping back to what we said at the beginning about showing up, and that creativity needs to know that we're going to be available to it. Scheduling our time is a perfect way to set up that relationship and to let it know that we're going to be there. And then I love this quote from Cal Newport. If you haven't read Deep Work, it's a really great book. And I just love what he says here about creative minds. We think like artists, but we work like accountants. And that's really true. Any writer that you know who is really successful doesn't just write when the muse occurs to them or when they feel inspired. They show up just like an accountant or a truck driver, like Stephen Pressfield always says, even when they feel sick, even when they're hungover, even when they're not feeling very creative on any given day. So that's that little tool. And next we're going to talk about timed writing, which is another great method to use that helps you increase focus. And I think it's a really powerful one. So let's jump in and talk about that.